Dear Ladylove TV.
Magandang araw. Narito pong muli ang pagpapatuloy ng ating kwentong pinamagatang Tadhana, Mukha ng Pag-ibig. Matutunghayan na po natin ngayon ang huling bahagi. The next few months was a blur. Finally choosing a date, hiring a wedding planner, choosing our entourage, scoring wedding venues, fittings, booking photographers and videographers, food and cake tasting, choosing designs and color for almost everything, sending out save the dates and invites and all the things related to our wedding. As the date loomed ahead, the bridal shower and stag party were thrown by our friends respectively. Natatawa ako kay Kian kasi halos kalad-kari na siya ni Carl, Troy, Ryan at yung buong college barkada niya palabas ng kondo para mag-attend ng sarili niyang stag party. Natatakot daw siya kung ano mang plano ni Troy at ng kuya niya. He was sure it would be something wild. Well, wild would be an understatement. Every one of them flew to Bali, much to Kian's horror. It was even funnier kasi nung may dumating daw na mga babae dun sa second night nila doon, which was the bachelor party proper daw according to sa kuya niya. Tumayo lang daw si Kian sa may pader and he refused to drink and blindfolded. He threatened to beat up anyone who came near him. Sobrang OA, baka daw magalit ako. Troy ended up receiving all the bachelors to be married treatment, which he completely enjoyed. Carlo couldn't stop laughing over it. Kian ever heard the end of it from his kuya na siya daw yung pinaka-KJ na bachelor. At least my fiancé enjoyed the first and their last day there kasi nag-surf lang daw sila and nag-inuman and bar hopping din. Ako, I had 2 bridal showers. One shown by our moms na super dignified since it was a weekend beach spa getaway. Compared to the one shown by Max, Leia, and my sister. And Cecile of course. She flew back for our wedding preps and dahil bridesmaid din siya, which involved foreign male strippers, alcohol bar hopping, and the most embarrassing games and gifts. I had to open one and the gift in front of other people at each bar we went to. Kian kept asking kung ano daw ginagawa sa amin ng mga foreign strippers, which was also funny. Max refused to let him know kung anong nangyari nung gabing yon. Pinagbawalan din niya sabihin kay Kian yung full details under threat of our friendship ending if I do it. Unless I make Kian promise na gagawin niya sa akin yung mga ginawa ng strippers, pati yung pagsayaw. Max of course was only teasing Kian. I was sure my party wasn't as wild as 3-day party Troy and Carlo threw for Kian, pero hindi din naman ako naging KJ. The strippers were harmless, and they weren't handsy. In fact, parang sila pa yung natrauma sa mga kaibigan ko. Hindi katulad ng mga babaeng nandun sa stag party ni Kian. Nakakatawa lang na he almost ran away from them. But it was also cute. Before we knew it, we were already doing rehearsals and the rehearsals dinners afterwards, the night before our wedding. Kian and I decided that the vintage theme of our engagement party, despite what happened, was still what we wanted. And I love everything we choose for our special day. Honestly, I think we were only doing this for our family and friends dahil if it was up to me and Kian, we would have gotten married in front of a judge because we both couldn't wait to spend our lives together. We both suck at waiting after all. We wanted to give this to our family. So ready ka na ba for our big day tomorrow, future Mrs. Romero? Kian whispered to me and kissed the side of my head. He loved calling me that. We were eating after the rehearsal with our whole entourage and families. I can't wait, love. I told him and kissed him. We never could. He pointed out the obvious. Kinikilig ako kasi future Mrs. Romero. That was all I needed to think about lately para kiligin. The following day was excitement-filled. I don't normally enjoy being the center of attention. But it felt nice to be doing the photo shoot during my preparation and SDE video. Part of it was Kian, me, and giving each other's gifts. I chose to buy him a watch that nearly emptied my savings account. Natakot ako dahil Susi na naman yung binigay niya sa akin without telling me what it's for. The videographer had to shoot it twice and directed me how to properly react to the gift. Hindi nila naintindihan na with Kian, baka susi yun sa bahay nila, sa Spain or somewhere else. I rolled my eyes on the first take. My excitement increased when the bridal car pulled up in front of Manila Cathedral. When I saw Kian standing in front of the altar waiting for me, I started crying happy tears. I can't believe that in less than an hour, I would already be Mrs. Trixie Valdez Romero. Actually, ilang araw ko na din pinapractice kung anong magiging pirma ko once I take it, his last name. Kian was also in tears while watching me walk down the aisle. His face as only one I saw during that walk. Kung hindi lang ako takot na masira yung ambience, baka tumakbo na ako papunta sa kanya. You once told me that our love story was never conventional. You said this while you knelt down in your bedroom to ask me to marry you only after about 3 months into our relationship, and I was only wearing a towel. Side note to my mom and dad, please don't judge me. I started my vows and I looked at the pew where my parents were sitting and my mom and dad smiled happily, ignoring what I said. Mom was even in tears. I looked back at Kian who was also beaming at me. I guess masayang-masaya lang talaga lahat ng tao dito ngayon. I continued. I agree. We were never the conventional couple with the way we went. The way the order of things in our relationship happened out of their proper sequence. Everything crazy that happened to us before our relationship even started, and with just about every point we're together that led us here today. But allow me to be a tiny bit conventional with this. Kian, I promise to always hold your hand and hug you tight on those days you need it the most. And even on those days you don't, because I am absolutely as clingy as you are. I promise not to insist on watching a horror film at night, but I can promise that I won't insist it during broad daylight. I promise to be your best friend that will never hear out your problems, even if your problem is me. I promise to take care of you when you're sick and when you're pretending to be sick. I promise not to roll my eyes whenever you give me gifts to spoil me, and I also promise that I will never stop nagging you about it because you have absolutely the most ridiculous and grandiose concept of gift giving. I promise to try and accept that you are right most of the time, even if we both know that I am the one who always right between the two of us. Oh, and I also promise not to rub that in. Sometimes I promise to always sleep beside you even after sending you out of the bedroom after a fight, because I won't be able to sleep without you anyway. So will be a big couch for the two of us to fit. I promise to laugh with you and at us over our small quirks. I promise to always be beside you in every adventure, milestone and trials we have, except during our court trials, because that will mean I'm your client. Though I know you'll be defending me with the whole life, because you are the best lawyer. For now, since I haven't graduated and taken the bar yet, so we'll see from there. I promise to try and not to hug all the comforter and push you to the edge of your bed. I promise that your face will always be the one I will look for through crowds. I promise to always see the best side of you, although honestly, I don't think there's any side of you that falls short of being best. I promise to always be your inspiration as you have always been mine. A very wise man told me that the efforts given between two people who have loved each other doesn't need to be equal, and the only thing that is important is what we do and what we give the person is what he or she needs. So I won't promise to be the best wife, but I will promise to give you everything and be everything you need in your own unconventional life together. I love you so much, Kian Romero, desperately, because that is how I will always love you. I finished my vows trying hard to say it clearly because my voice might crack through my happy tears. He held my hand tightly and looked at me with all his love and happy tears as well. Not to be too biased, but that is the best wedding vows I have heard, and I'm the luckiest man in this world to be in the receiving end of everything you just said. But babe, we'll need to discuss what you said about being right all the time. I have a couple of arguments I want to raise. He smiled amusedly and kissed my forehead. As almost everyone in this world know, you are my first girlfriend. For the longest time, I have always believed that I never needed anyone else. I was independent, single, quiet, and had no problems with my solitude. I was contented in only thinking and worrying about myself. My dreams, plans, and future were only mine. I was fine existing in a world that I was alone, until you came along. One glance was it all it took to shake the foundation of that belief that I was contented with being myself. Suddenly, I couldn't even get coffee without wanting to get one for you as well. I can't imagine how I could go through the day without seeing your beautiful face. I couldn't stop thinking about you. Where could you be? Who you're with? What you're doing? What you're thinking about? The opinions you have on the biggest issues and even on the smallest things. The meaning behind all the looks you were giving me. Every eyebrow arc, lip bitten, smile revealed and front thrown. There were quite a lot of those fronts. The riddle of your face and thoughts was suddenly more important to me than my latest case. The need to understand and be with someone else was so intense and was so bizarre for me. I tried asking Carlo if it was normal, so you could only imagine what answer I got from my brother. 96% of it was bullshit and 4% was all about himself. But that 96% I only come to call bullshit, because Carlo was talking about attraction and love, which was of course foreign to myself. I denied it because I didn't realize that I was actually falling in love with someone already. You. It was mind-blowingly unbelievable, because who even believes one could fall in love so suddenly and so hopelessly for someone before even knowing them? But I did. My whole world shifted, and everything suddenly became about you. Every day that passed, I found myself even more hopelessly in love with you. And as famous people have said it, the rest was history. Our history. Today, as we stand before everyone we love as our witnesses, with all my conviction and honesty, I vow to take care of you, protect you, and love you all the days of my existence. I promise that you are and will always be my life, because my existence and my life will always be tied with yours. After his vows, I wanted so much to kiss him already, pero syempre kailangan ko maghintay. We haven't exchanged rings yet, and with the power vested in me by the church, I now pronounce you husband and wife. You may kiss the bride, the priest finally said. Kian smiled at me at naiiyak na naman ako. Hi, Mrs. Romero. Hinindatan niya muna ako and cradled the side of my face, then leaned down to me and we kissed. The church erupted with cheers and applause from all our loved ones. I wanted this moment to freeze in time. This will always be the best day of my life. The day I became officially his and he became mine for the rest of our lives. For about a month, Kian and I toured Europe for our honeymoon. It was a wedding gift from his parents. Hindi na ako nagugulat kung nasaan na naman si Kian, yung gift-giving habit niya. And as predicted, Kian's gift to me was a house. It was in the same neighborhood as his parents and my jaw dropped dahil kasing ganda din siya nung bahay nila with the same old world vibe. It was his grandparents' house na pinamana sa kanya. Well, technically it's ours. So wag ka masyado maging nagger sa akin sa regalo ko sa'yo. Lugi ka pa kasi ka-share ko dyan. He laughed jokingly dahil nagsimula na naman ako na magreklamo sa pamamigay niya ng kung ano-ano sa akin. You know why ganito ako, love? Kasi you always answer me with because I can. Whenever you give me things. I rolled my eyes at him. Okay, Mrs. Romero, I'm sorry. He hugged me. I will think of another answer when you ask me why I'm giving you something. But our house is breathtaking. I love it. I said at tinitigan na namin yung bahay habang nakayaka pa rin ako sa kanya. It was instantly felt like home kahit hindi pa kami pumapasok. Kung saan kami magsisimula ng pamilya ni Kian. I can't wait for that. The term marital bliss definitely described how well Kian and I took our new life together. It was like we were made to exist for his life. I was glad he left me a lot of things to do with the house, so naging busy din ako sa pag-decorate ng ibang parts ng mga bahay namin habang nagtatrabaho siya sa bago niyang study. And dahil hindi pa ako bumabalik sa law school, we haven't discussed about it yet, if I should or if I still want to. Most of my days were spent na para akong housewife. Nagpaturo ako sa household help kung paano magluto. Some are good while some not so great pero Kian practically eats everything I cook. Nang konti lang yung pagrereklamo. Actually, tinatawanan lang niya yung mga cooking fails ko pero kinakain pa rin niya as supportive husband that he is. Babe, are you sure about this? Kian asked me for about 12 times already this morning habang sabay kaming nagbibihes. Yeah, I think ready na tayo. Kumunot yung noo ko. I look unsure but I felt that we need it already. Ready pero ganyan itsura mo? Kian eyed me. Halos 3 araw na kami nag-uusap about this since Cecil called him. Today, the Quezon City Trial Court will pronounce its decision on the arson case against Regina Sobel. It's going to be the first time I'll see her in person after nung last seizure ko that was induced by her. Kian wanted to be there to see it, and sa totoo lang, ako din, feeling ko her chapter sa buhay namin should already be over. Matagal na dapat. And this was the way to close it. After this day, I don't want to ever see her or think about her ever again. Kian was worried when I told him na gusto kong sumama. I guess ayaw niyang mangyari yung nangyari the last time I saw her. We both didn't know kung may matitrigger pa ba sa akin since I already retrieved all my memories. Babe, I think we should... It's like saying goodbye sa tinik sa buhay natin. I said, hugging him from behind, and I kissed his back. Paano kung tinik sa buhay natin would be released? He asked as I helped him out on his usual lawyer outfit. Yes, that would be another thing that can happen. But after Cecil's testimony, I was sure her mom would be found guilty by the court. Another reason Cecil flew back was to testify against his mother. Her testimony was the last nail on the coffin of Regina's case. It was the strongest corroborating evidence of the prosecution bilang she was there when Regina boasted of her plans to burn down the area. Appeal? Kian said. It wasn't a question. I may be out of law school for now but I still have a lawyer husband. So part ng bedroom talk namin yung mga cases na hawak niya and sometimes yung case ni Regina. We've already gone through everything that could possibly happen after the court's pronouncement of the decisions against her. Love, we've been through this. I just want to get on with our lives. I don't want her interrupting any of our plans. Dahil ba buhay pa siya? Hindi pa tayo pwedeng mag-anak? I rolled my eyes. I'm dying to raise children already. Are you pregnant, Mrs. Romero? He turned around to face me. Actually, I was. For 3 weeks already and I just found out yesterday. Pero hindi ko pa sinasabi kay Kian kasi nga masyado niyang sineseryoso tong kay Regina. After today, I'll surprise him after dinner so that we can have another big thing to look forward to. He'll be the first to know if I am, attorney. I kissed him. It wasn't exactly a denial, and if he finds out I'm pregnant, di niya ko lalo papupuntahin. I can deal with his anger later on. He held my hand while we entered the regional trial court. Unlike the last time I was there were a handful of protesters against Regina outside so medyo magulo. I remembered seeing his protest scenario on TV nung wala pa akong naaalala. We proceeded outside the courtroom. Cecil was there with Charlie and another man who looks like Cecil, so I think yun yung tatay niya. When he saw us, he shook hands with Kian. Attorney Romero, he greeted him. Tito, this is my wife Trixie. Pinakilala ko ni Kian sa tatay ni Ces and she shook my head. Nice to finally meet you, Trixie. Congratulations on your wedding. He smiled cordially. Thank you, Mr. Sobel. I answered him. He was so different from his wife. He was decent and nice. And he doesn't scream, I'm going to murder you wherever you go if you don't agree with me with his personality. Cecile and Charlie also greeted us with hugs and handshake. Then before we knew it, it was time. Hindi ko mapigilan na kabahan. Last chance? Kian asked me before we entered. Yes, I can handle this. Tapusin na natin to. I answered him but I never let go of his hand and we entered. Ngayon naman, we were seated together with Cecile, Charles, and her dad. I can feel Kian tense beside me when everyone stood up and the judge entered the courtroom. I swallowed hard when Regina was ushered in. No seizures naman. We sat down when the judge did. The procedure started. All 5 of us held our breath when the judge finally said, "This court finds the defendant, Regina Sobel, guilty beyond reasonable doubt." Oh my God, relief flooded my body and my whole being. Hindi ko na narinig yung mga tinuloy ng judge. Guilty was all I needed to hear. Kian placed his arm around my shoulder and squeezed tight. Naramdaman ko rin yung relief niya. Then everything happened quickly as the law enforcer was about to cuff Regina. Somehow Regina had a gun. Hindi ko alam if nakuha niya yun sa enforcer or meron talaga siya bago pa siya pumasok. Probably bribed someone to give her one. I panicked when she pointed it sa area namin. Kian automatically placed me behind him and all I heard was a gunshot. "Come on, Trixie, please," Leah asked. I rolled my eyes at her. Leah and Max and I were walking along a familiar school fair and Leah was trying to convince me to have our fortunes read nung nilagpasan namin yung fortune teller tent. Alam mong hindi yan titigil. Inirapan din ni Max si Leah. Okay na't ikaw na lang. Natatawa kong sabi sa kanya. It wouldn't be the same. Kailangan tatlo tayo. Leah pouted. Sa totoo lang, natatakot ako sa manghuhula. Mami Leah, look! Dad finally bought me a cotton candy. Tumakbo si Addie papunta kay Leah to show her big rainbow-colored cotton candy larger than her face. Leah smiled at Audrey but glared at Ryan. I told you not to buy cotton candy, she said through her teeth at him. Natawa ko. Who knew Leah would be like this? Our old school was now Addie's school. We all went here for a nostalgic feeling since we all knew our future started in that school fair 11 years ago. Why not? Si Addie yung pahulaan natin. Max wink at Leah. Wag na. Nagmamadaling sagot ni Leah kay Max. She's very protective of her stepdaughter. I turned around to look for the face I've always looked for in the crowds. I remember the time that I was completely and utterly terrified that I could lose him. In that courtroom 3 years ago, nung nagpaputok sa rihina ng baril, which was aimed to us. I wasn't able to see kung kanino niya specifically tinuro yung baril. Kian said, kay Cecil daw nung una, kasi he shielded me again. Regina ended up committing suicide. It was equally horrifying sa totoo lang. I vomited sa bathroom right after, though baka dahil din buntis ako nun. But her death was also the end of Kian's constantly fearing for my life and safety. I can say I was completely relieved since I was confident Kian and I could surpass any problems together. But I also felt bad for Cecile losing her mom. She actually got over it quickly, saying that she already lost her mother nung bata pa lang siya, when she realized her mom never loved her. It was a chapter we all closed together. I smiled at Kian na palapit sa amin pero umirap din ako agad-agad and groaned when I saw him holding an ice cream cone in one hand and our 3-year-old daughter on the other. Babe, why did you feed her ice cream? I said in exasperation pagkakita ko sa mukha ng anak namin. Gabby's mouth was dripping with ice cream. She wanted one. And it's confirmed. She eats ice cream like you do. I've always been curious. Sabi ni Kian with his boyish cute smile. I took our daughter in my arms and Kian took out his handkerchief to wipe her face. Why not yung husband na lang yung magpahula? Max said in amusement. Ryan also knew about the hula and of course si Kian din. Hard pass. Ryan chuckled. I however wondered kung anong magiging hula kay Kian. Would the fortune teller say my name to him like how he said Kian's name to me before? I don't need someone to tell me kung ano magiging future ko. I already know, and it will always be you and our family. Kian looked at me lovingly. 11 years ago, I didn't believe the hula. I was a cynic until I met Kian Romero. Then I turned into someone who tried to deny her destiny. As Kian puts it, pag naalala niya yung mga hula once in a while. Well, the hula really might be true. But I knew we wouldn't be here together if it wasn't for the choices we made to stay together. Madaming binigay sa amin ni Kian na moments to say no. The fact that I was his student before and it seemed impossible at that time for us to be together. The moment he asked me to wait for him when he asked me to be his girlfriend, when I thought it was too complicated after knowing he had a fake fiancé, when he asked me to marry him, when he admitted he was indeed my boyfriend after forgetting him when I had amnesia, when he confessed to me that he wanted me to forget about him, and when he said our I do's. We both had a choice during those moments. I'll always be happy we made all the right choices in keeping the love of my life. Kian and our family is my future. The one I will never ever deny. Tunay ngang walang sino man na makapagsasabi kung sino ang tunay na nakatadhana para sa atin. Nakatadhanang mahalin, nakatadhanang makasama natin habang buhay. Tulad ng kwento ni na Trixie at Kian, Hindi sinasadya, ngunit pagkakataon na nagdala sa kanila upang mapagtagpo ang kanilang puso at ng kanilang kapalaran. Marami mang pagsubok, pero lumaban sila dahil tunay ang kanilang pag-ibig. Naway panibagong inspirasyon ang naidulot namin sa kwento ni Kian at Trixie. Nawa katulad nila ay matuto tayong ipaglaban at tanggapin ang ating mga kapalaran. Maging maayos, nawa, ang bawat nating pakikibaka sa ating buhay, lalo na sa ating buhay pag-ibig. Maging matibay tayo tulad ni Kian at Trixie. Hanggang sa muli, maraming salamat po sa lahat ng sumuporta sa kwentong ito. Naway patuloy nyo kaming samahan sa mga paparating pa naming kwento. Shout out muli sa lahat nating masugid na taga-subaybay. Maraming salamat po sa patuloy na pagsama sa amin sa kwentong ito. Hanggang sa muli, mag-ingat po tayong lahat.